everyone. How are you? I think we have already learned from chapter 1 to chapter 4. And after the chapter 4, we have a review session. And so today, I'll help you to review from chapter 1 to chapter 4. Okay, so first of all, that is chapter 1. The topic of chapter 1 is what is etiquette. So, so what is etiquette? For good or for bad, people judge other people by the way that they behave in different situations. So we need to have a basic understanding of what and what not to do in different situations and environments. So the rules of etiquette must be learned. They don't come naturally. Acceptable etiquette is usually dictated by the cultural norms of a group. For example, maybe different countries or different religion or different companies has a different uh, cultures. So they will have a different customs. So if you in the future after you graduate and you go to a company, so you have to learn the company's rules, the company's cultures, and so you have to behave like that company's people, right? So if you go to the different country, for example, that you are Vietnamese and right now you come to Taiwan, so you have to learn Taiwan's customs and the Taiwan's cultures and the Taiwan's etiquette, and you have to behave like a Taiwanese, right? Okay, so in page three, in the page three, on the first paragraph, mentioned that there are two fundamental the basis of a proper etiquette, and it mentioned the first one is being kind to other people. Anyway, if you don't know any etiquette, any rules, or any regulations regarding the etiquette, anyway, we have to follow these two fundamental the basis of a proper etiquette. That the number one is being kind to other people. And the number two, we have to treat the people with respect. We have to treat the people with respect. It's quite important. So what does that mean? We have to avoid making people feel bad. We have to make people feel good, not feel bad. And don't using etiquette rules to embarrass those who don't know them. So in page three, um, the author make example speaking of the finger bowls. Usually the finger bowls, we for the waiter or waitress will bring it up maybe after the main course. If your main course is a lobster or crabs, so after you finish the main course, they will bring a finger bowl to you, and that bowl the is for you to wash your hand, right? Not to drink it up. So maybe some people don't know the rules. They just drink up the water in the finger bowl. So sometimes we don't make people embarrassed. So a lady just the hostess just drink it up or as well, and to don't make the guest feel embarrassed. But I don't think it's a good example. Anyway, the water in the finger bowls just for you to wash your hands, to wash your fingers, not for you to drink. Okay. So in this course, in this chapter, we learned some key vocabularies. Would you please follow me to read these terms, okay? The first one is etiquette, etiquette, manners, manners, embarrass, embarrass, affluent, affluent, acceptable, acceptable, hostess, hostess, guidelines, guidelines, refined, refined, behavior, behavior, dictate, dictate. Okay, so now let's go to the chapter 2. In chapter 2, the topic is first meeting, right? So speaking of the first impression, um, you never get a chance to make another person first, another first impression, right? And when people meet for the first time socially or in their line of business, they usually make a personal or professional judgments on what to see and hear from the new people. So speaking of the personal judgments, usually when you meet a person that your first time to see or to meet him or her, so how do you make the personal judgment? Usually the personal judgments, maybe we will see the person's personality, right? But for the professional judgment, maybe the attitude to work, we will judge their attitude to work, so or the way of speaking or the outfit. Okay, so um, so usually we hope that we will make a best first impression to other people, right? So socially, uh, in the page 12 mentioned that the gender, age, position, and the status play a strong role in how to greet a person, especially in Western because of chivalry. So what does chivalry mean? Chivalry mean the spirit of chivalry. Chivalry, we can say just lady first, right? In the Western, people always follow the rule of a lady first. But in socially, the gender is quite important than the age and the position and the status. If there is going to be a handshake between a woman and a man, it is the woman's choice to extend her hand, not the man's, because lady first, right? So lady have to extend the hand so you can shake hand with the lady. If the lady doesn't extend her hand, the gentleman cannot extend your hand. Okay, in many Western countries, it is an etiquette mistake to inquire about the personal information. Remember, don't ask personal information. So what kind of information we can say that it is personal information? For example, um, like age, we cannot ask people your age. How old are you? And how many children do you have? Or are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? Or are you working? And what is your salary? How much do you make? How much do you earn? So these kind of questions are personal the information. So we don't we don't need to ask. Okay, if we ask, will make people feel you are very impolite. Okay, so in business, um, business etiquette is based on the idea of a position and the status. Gender and age have a very little importance in business introductions and dealings. So remember, I just mentioned socially, gender is important, age is important, position and the status is important. But for business, no, customer always come first in introductions as a general rule. So even you have a high position, you have a high status, or you are a general manager, but even the customer is younger than you, or the customer is very, you know, is a man, you are a woman, but when you meet the customer, usually customer will go first, right? Okay, so how do we make an introduction? Socially, suppose we will introduce a man to a woman, then introduce a young man to an elderly man, introduce a subordinate to a superior. Okay, that is the rules for the socially. But the titles are frequently used in business introductions. For example, when you do the introduction, you have the presenter. You will say, Mr. Franklin, may I introduce Miss Jody Peterson, our new human resource manager. Then you will say, Miss Peterson, this is Mr. Franklin, our CEO. So for business the introduction, we usually will put the title. So Mr. Franklin is the CEO of the company, and we can tell that Jody Peterson is the human resource manager. So usually for business, we will say this is Mr. blah 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 or Miss blah blah blah, something like that. So the title, Mr. Miss, is very important. And how to keep a conversation going, speaking of this topic, usually I think I mentioned about that. You should ask open-ended questions. Okay, so what's different between open-ended question and a closed-ended questions? Usually closed-ended questions and the answer will be yes or no, but the open-ended question, usually that will start from why, what, and how. For example, we can say, oh, why did you decide to do that? And what made you want to go to Japan? So if you ask this question, the people will say a lot of reasons. Oh, why? So why do I want to go to Japan? Because I want to study, or I want to work, and or I have a business trip, blah blah blah, something like that. So we usually keep to ask open-ended question and can make the conversation going. On the other side, if you don't want to keep a conversation going, so you had better ask a close-ended question and make the conversation finish, right? Okay, so for this session, we also learned some key terms. Please follow me to read these words, okay? Judgment, judgment, gender, gender, chivalry, chivalry, status, status, impolite, impolite, extend, extend, role, role, socially, socially, impression, impression, permission, permission, subordinate, subordinate, superior, superior.